the Oracle Autonomous Migration and Data Loading module. We will be covering several topics during this module. We will start by describing the options and considerations for migration to ADB. We will then cover migrating to ADB using DataPump, followed by how to migrate or synchronize ADB with GoldenGate. Once data is migrated into ADB, Oracle Data Sync can be used for synchronization of ADB with source systems. In the last section, we will cover how to use DBMS Cloud for loading data into ADB. When you have completed this video, you will be able to describe the options and considerations for migrating to ADB. You will be able to articulate how to migrate to Autonomous Database with DataPump and GoldenGate. Finally, you will be able to articulate how to load data to ADB with DataSync and DBMS Cloud. Let's start with the migration options and considerations. The diagram above provides a high-level architectural diagram for different ways to load and maintain data in ADB. Data can be loaded directly to ADB through applications such as SQL Developer, which can read data files such as text and XLS, and load directly into tables in ADB. A more efficient and preferred method for loading data into ADB is to stage the data into Cloud Object Store, preferably Oracle's, but also supported are Amazon S3 and Azure Blob Storage. Any file type can be staged in Object Store. Once the data is in Object Store, Autonomous Database can access it directly. Tools can be used to facilitate the data movement between Object Store and the database, for example, IMP, DP, and for export, DMP files from other databases, or Parquet, JSON, .csv format, among others. Depending on the amount of data to be loaded, either of these strategies would work. A physical database can't simply be migrated to Autonomous Database because the database must be converted to a pluggable database, upgraded to the current version of the database, and encrypted. Any changes to Oracle shipped store procedures or views must be found and reverted. All uses of container database admin privileges must be removed. All legacy features that are not supported must be removed, such as legacy large objects. DataPump must be used for migrating databases versions 10.1 and above to Autonomous Database, as it addresses the issues just mentioned. For online migrations, GoldenGate can be used to keep old and new databases in sync. More on this will be covered later in the module. When considering the extended set of methods that can be used for migration and loading, it's important to segregate the methods by functionality and limitations of use against Autonomous Database. The considerations are as follows. How large is the dataset to be imported? What is the input file format? Does the method support non-Oracle database sources? Does the method support using Oracle and/or third-party object store? Use the chart in this slide to go over the considerations to decide which method is the most appropriate for any specific Autonomous Database loading requirement. You can load data into ADB Cloud using Oracle database tools and Oracle and third-party data integration tools. You can load data from files local to your client computer or from files stored in cloud-based object store. The Oracle Autonomous Database has built-in functionality called DBMS Cloud, specifically designed so the database can move data back and forth with external sources through a secure and transparent process. DBMS Cloud allows data movement from the object store, data from any applications or data sources, export to text, .csv or JSON, output from third-party data integration tools. DBMS Cloud can also access data stored on object storage from other clouds, AWS, S3, and Azure Blob Storage. DBMS Cloud does not impose any volume limit, so it's preferred method to use. SQL Loader can be used for loading data located on local client file systems into Autonomous Database. There are limits around OS and client machines when using SQL Loader. DataPump is the best way to migrate a full or part database into ADB, including databases from previous versions. Because DataPump will perform the upgrade as part of the export-import process, this is the simplest way to get to ADB from any existing Oracle database implementation. SQL Developer provides a GUI front end for using DataPump that can automate the whole export and import process from an existing database to ADB. SQL Developer also includes an import wizard that can be used to import data from several file types into ADB. A very common use of the wizard is the import Excel files into Autonomous Data Warehouse. Oracle Object Store is directly integrated into Autonomous Database and is the best option for staging data that will be consumed by Autonomous Database. Any file type can be stored in Object Store, including SQL Loader files, Excel, JSON, Parquet, and of course, dump files. Flat files stored on Object Store can also be used as Oracle Database external tables, so they can be queried directly from the database as part of a normal DML operation. Object Store is separate than storage allocated to the Autonomous Database for dataset object storage, such as tables and indexes. That storage is part of the Exadata system and is automatically allocated and managed. Users do not have direct access to that storage. One of the main considerations when loading and updating ADB is the network latency between the data source and the Autonomous Database. Many ways to measure this latency exist. One is the website cloudharmony.com, which provides many real-time metrics for connectivity between the client and Oracle Cloud Services. It's important to run these tests when determining which Oracle Cloud Service location will provide the best connectivity. The Oracle Cloud Dashboard has an integrated tool that will provide real-time and historic latency information between your existing location and any specified Oracle data center. When planning for a migration, after performing network and data transfer analysis, the total data transfer time to ADB should be quantified to ensure operational continuity. The chart in this slide includes a sample of how long it would take to transfer data into Object Store for then loading into ADB. The numbers here are representative of a specific location. If the transfer and post-importing into the database will be long, and if it's important to keep the source and new ADB systems in sync, contingency plans such as using Oracle Golden Gate to synchronize the database could be integrated into the migration plan. Customers that have a large database may want to migrate to ADB, and/or customers that have slow connectivity to an Oracle data center can leverage the data transfer service available to Object Store customers. This allows customers to ship their data on hard drives to Oracle Cloud Services, where they will be loaded into Oracle Object Store. For transfer operations that could take days or weeks and risk being interrupted, this provides a safe and multi-use movement method. When migrating data to Autonomous Database, table statistics are gathered automatically during direct path load operations. If direct path load operations are not used, such as with SQL Developer loads, the user can gather statistics manually as needed. When migrating an existing database that uses Optimizer and parallel hints, ADB will ignore those by default. Because ADB runs in a highly tuned Exadata environment, most database operations should run faster, or at least as well as database tuned with lots of hints to perform faster. Should hints be required for some reason, they can be explicitly re-enabled. Autonomous Database uses hybrid columnar compression for all tables by default. This gives the best compression ratio and optimal performance for direct path load operations like the loads done using DBMS Cloud Package. If you perform DML operations like update and merge on your tables, these may cause the compression ratio for the affected rows to decrease, leading to larger table sizes. These operations may also perform slower compared to some of the operations on an uncompressed table. For best compression ratio and optimal performance, Oracle recommends using bulk operations like direct path loads and create table select statements. But if your workload requires frequent DML operations like update and merge on large parts of a table, you can create those tables as uncompressed tables to achieve better DML performance. Let's look at how to perform a migration using DataPump. DataPump, XPDB, and ImpDP can be used for database versions 10.1 and above as source databases and will perform the upgrade steps necessary to convert the database from older versions to the current Autonomous Database version. DataPump Import lets you import data from DataPump files residing on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Object Store, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Object Store Classic, and AWS S3. You can save your data to your Cloud Object Store and use Oracle DataPump to load data to the Autonomous Database. Oracle DataPump offers very fast bulk data and metadata movement between Oracle databases and Autonomous Database. This is the preferred way to move between an existing database implementation and an Autonomous Database. The primary mechanism that DataPump uses is data file copying, but will also leverage direct path, external tables, or network link imports. Oracle DataPump Export provides several export modes. Oracle recommends using the schema mode for migrating to Autonomous Database. You can list the schemas you want to export by using the schema parameter. For a faster migration, export your schemas into multiple DataPump files and use parallelism. You can specify the dump file name format you want to use with the dump file parameter. Set the parallel parameter to at least the number of CPUs you have in your Autonomous Database. The exclude data_options parameters ensure that the object types not required in Autonomous Database are not exported and table partitions are grouped together so that they can be imported faster during the import to Autonomous Database. In this example, you see under the exclude and data_options the recommended objects that should not be exported as they are either not supported or not recommended for Autonomous Database. To use DataPump from ADB, a credential identifying the object storage bucket to use must be defined with the dbms_cloud.create_credential function. This will allow ADB to access objects that are stored in the object store, including dump files. To export an existing database to prepare for import into ADB, use the XTP command and add the exclude option for database functionality that is not recommended or supported in ADB. This will prevent errors during the import process. In this example, the exclude and data_options parameters ensure that the object types not required in the Autonomous Database are not exported, and table partitions are grouped together so that they can be imported faster during the import to import your schemas and data. If you want to migrate your existing indexes, materialized views, and materialized view logs to Autonomous Database and manage them manually, you can remove these objects from the exclude list, which will export those objects types too. This is exporting the SH schema and is creating 16 parallel threads. To import an exported database into ADB, use the mtp command with the admin or user with permission to import and the connect string